What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Insight 11, and right now, man, we're getting into the mind is the flesh and the flesh is the mind. Because check this out, right? Whatever it is that we resonate with on a mental level, that's going to be exactly how we're going to fashion our flesh, meaning that we're programming our reality, but we may be subconsciously, unconsciously adhering to impulses and programs that we're psychologically conditioned under, so we can't necessarily even like go outside of that pattern to experience the reality that we want to experience, right? So it's like, let's say for example, a person is very obese, right? You can look at their flesh, they're very fucking fat. Okay, that means mentally they're attaching themselves to a feeling of gluttony that's producing that behavior of constantly overeating and stuff like that, right? So whatever it is that we're resonating with mentally, it's also going to play out with our flesh, to the point that you can start to even manifest certain features on your face based upon what you resonate with. Like a person who's practicing or is in a space of like gratitude versus a person who's not in a space of gratitude. And I'm not saying that you have to be in that energy all the time, I'm just saying it's an energy to be in, is going to have different facial features than someone who's actually allowing life to get to them, aka they're depressed. They view their life as, okay, life sucks and stuff like that, right? These two people, they're having a different mind, are going to experience life differently because they're living from two different distinct point of views, and their flesh and their facial features are also going to manifest looking differently and stuff like that. And you can't tell me I'm lying right now, because I guarantee you can go outside, step outside of your house, you can go to the grocery store, go anywhere, or go to the bank. You see a bunch of people that are stressed, pissed off, annoyed, and you can look at their facial features and you'll see that their flesh is fashioning after characteristics and features and shit like that look like their state of mind. So they're depressed, their face might look like this, or this is like normal now, or that's like a lot of old people that you see and shit, right? So your flesh is always going to be fashioned after your mind. So if you take care of your mind, then you're also taking care of your flesh. But the starting point itself is the mind. It's not the flesh, right? So the mind is the flesh, and the flesh is a denser, more heavier version of the mind, aka made of different aspects, different qualities that we resonate with as an observer of our reality from a mental standpoint, right? Now, look, there's a subconscious, unconscious, and there's a conscious. So now, when we're observing our conscious reality, we have to really be aware of what light, what awareness is being sparked, and we have to make sure as much as possible that it's not coming from our psychological conditioning. Because if you're coming from like a negative background of a negative past, then you may adhere to that. So you gotta be like, when you look at your thoughts and feelings, you have to really pick and choose, or just resonate with something different, completely different. You have to really pick and choose, okay, is this taking me down the same pattern that I've been doing over and over again, or is this taking me down a different pattern that I actually want to, go down upon, because that's what I want to experience at the moment. I want to create that, let's say you have an ideal life. Well, the current life that you're living may not be so ideal. So for you to go to that new reality, it's like you gotta completely disassociate with that old pattern that produces that reality. And the pattern is just a pattern of thoughts and feelings, and a pattern of power that produces behaviors, conscious thoughts and feelings, and stuff like that, right? So yeah, the light awareness that come into existence through our mind, through our body, through the construct of our behaviors, thing that we externally exude, aka through the body, or 3D density, is a result of what we uphold as states of beings that animate and create cells for the body. And when I use the word cells and organs, like I said, your flesh is always going to be fashioned after your mind. So let's say you experienced a negative past. You may have a form of psychological conditioning that is, that your cells are holding on to something but it just plays out like that because of whatever you have mentally. You're basically programming your cells and your organs to resonate with that reality. So if someone has a heavy heart, they can't feel shit, it's because they still have a bunch of experiences that's going on in their heart chakra, their heart organ, that they haven't let go of yet, so they can be more lighter, so that their emotional intelligence can be more available to them throughout their life and shit like that, right? So that's what I mean when I say cells that are fashioned after the mind, because we always fashion the body, the flesh, after the mind, right? So when you're having these lights, these awarenesses come up, it's because your cells, your organs, your mind, because your whole body's a mind, is resonating with those things on some type of level. Now, the goal is to lessen the level of resonance throughout the period of time. So we're not necessarily adhering to that pattern. It just becomes like something in the background, and slowly and surely it just detaches and just completely, it just, turns into ashes. It's like the allegory of Scorpio and the phoenix being able to transform out of certain feelings and stuff like that, right? Which can be a very, very powerful experience, right? Because if you want to change your life, then chances are you have to transform your mind as well and be open to constant transformation and constant change and shit like that, right? So whatever we live out as an aspect, virtue, vice, virtue being an angelic pattern, vice being a more demonic, animalistic pattern and shit like that, higher nature angelic or lower nature animalistic of a flesh, it's always gonna be generated through our mind. So we always gotta be just paying attention to our mind, and whatever we pay attention to, we might want to be careful what we pay attention to. Because let's say, for example, that you're paying attention to how your parent may have potentially abused you when you was younger, or you might have gotten bullied in school, or whatever it is. If you give that thought, feeling, attention, and you add more onto it, it's like you're allowing that pattern to exist. Whether you're looking at it like it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You're allowing that pattern to exist, and you're holding on to that existence rather than letting it go and shit like that. So as much as possible, we want to be able to let go of these things and not hold on to those things. Because if something is not good for you, then you should be able to discern that and move towards a pattern that is actually adding longevity and adding life to your long-term vision, not your short-term vision, aka having short-term pleasures versus long-term pleasures and stuff like that. And then you can decide for yourself which one is more worth it. I'm sure that the rational mind will say, well, long-term pleasures are more worth it, right? Now, you can have short-term pleasures too. You can eat a cake, you can smoke some weed, you can do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, though, the long-term vision becomes what's most important, right? And I know that's one thing that I have to work on, most definitely. That's pretty much all it is. I have some examples here, pretty much. Like one example that I like to use, let's say for example, right? We talked about how the mind is the flesh and the flesh is the mind, right? And in things like Catholicism, Christianity, Eastern Orthodox, they have something called the 7 deadly sins, right? Where an observer can be attached to a state of being of, let's say, gluttony, or a pattern of wrath, a pattern of anger. So their flesh is fashioned after the nature of their mind. So be careful and aware of what you're unconsciously giving your mind to, right? Because like I said earlier, gluttony, wrath, all these things are just virtues and vices. Not virtues, mainly vices, demonic characteristics, lower animalistic nature shit, right? That we can attach ourselves to, and we can play out that reality constantly. Meaning that you ever meet someone that's constantly pissed off, constantly angry? You ever meet someone that's always jealous? You ever meet someone that's always hateful? You ever meet someone that's always serious? It's because they're resonating with one chakra, and their spirit is not actually like traveling through their whole mind, their whole body. They're just stuck into like one reference point about reality, and like that's their whole life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, real shit. So yeah, where now we can subconsciously live for our flesh, where we're supposed to be architects of our subconscious mind. So we can govern the flesh by taking ownership and power back of our mind, right? So you can either live for your flesh and allow your flesh to be the motivating factor of your life, or you can be more of an architect, or work on being an architect of the subconscious, unconscious mind, so you can actually start to begin to understand the 50-60% of life that we may not be privy to, which is just subconscious, unconscious patterns, or just things in life that are more so behind closed doors that we may not consciously be privy to, because a lot of things is just more so about the subconscious, unconscious world, and just understanding the program that springs forth from that, so we can decide, okay, is this a pattern that we want to go down upon, or is this a pattern that we don't want to go down upon, and shit like that. And yeah, with that being said, that was all for this video. I'll see you guys next time. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like 5 videos a week. Because Saturday, Sunday, I do want to be more free for other shit. And yeah, that's just an update for now. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.